Hi, everybody. It's supposed to be getting into the buzz with Rob and B. We're not going to play Hey Bananas with you, Groovy, because I got big announcements. This is a big show, so big to tell you. Now, as you know, we got Monkey Mania Radio starting all over the world, right? And I'll be doing two shows, Saturday and Sunday for 2 hours, I believe from 10 a.m. to 12. And my co-host will be the beautiful Robin B. Can't wait. We'll be able to play Monkey songs. We'll be able to play Peter Talk songs. We'll be able to play Blue Suede Shoe songs. I can't wait. Are you excited about that, Robin?
I am. I didn't even get to say hello. Hi, Plastic. How are you?
Hi, Robin. How are you? Can you say hello to all your fans? Because the numbers are coming in all the time. You know, after the 400 show, I got so much feedback about you and doing such a great job hosting. I've got to say that. I've got to compliment you.
Are you talking to me? Wait, that's a Robert
De
Niro line. You talking to me?
Yeah, but let me also tell you this now. As you know, the Buzz will be doing a show with Leslie Cavendish. It's already been organised. And watch this. As you know, there was a 1964 Dell comic on the left-hand side there. That's the original. And the right-hand side, I got my friend George Footsas to do that for me to make you look. That cover girl from 1964. And if you're out there, we'd love to have you on the show. We don't know your name, but if somebody knows you, please contact us here at the Buzz. We want on the show. Now, do you agree?
Oh, my, that's a look. Let me tell
you. Now, look, you know what I did for you just specially? There's you on your own. Okay.
Wow.
You know what? I reckon every Beatle fan out there in 1964, I'm not joking, every teenager would have rushed out to buy that book. And it was actually made for women. Like, it's got the women's hairstyles in every page. As I said, when Leslie comes on, Leslie Cavendish, we'll go through every hairstyle and we'll talk about it. But I'll tell you what, if it was 1964 and I saw you on the cover at the newsstand, every teenager in America would have bought that magazine with you on the cover. Do you agree?
You think they would have bought it with my current face, or would I have had to have been a teenager?
No, with that face. With that face. Not your face now. That face. We're talking 1964. That's Dell issue number 1, Beatle hairdos. I mean, you got to say now, I'm very lucky because I got the right artist to make you look better. So during the shows, I'm going to have more surprises, but I don't want to show you before the show because it spoils the show.
Oh, he's got more surprises.
I got more. Are you impressed with that or not?
That's always fun for me. Now, normally you would be covering me with that magazine cover, but there are only 2 of us right now, so I feel very fortunate. I can just move to the side.
Now, listen, you've sorted out your Monkey's favourite songs, and as I said, can't wait for the radio station to start going worldwide. And we're going to have some great songs. We're going to have some great guests, and we've got a few things planned. So we can't give anything away because I don't want anyone to know how cool this show is or the name. I've already sorted out the name.
To know that. What are you talking about? They need to know that. You don't want anyone to know how cool the show is? All right, let's keep quiet about it.
And I've got to say, you look the coolest. You look the coolest. You've gone like from the girl next door to like international celebrity status. I've got to say that. It's true.
I can't see, so I hope so. Because
but that's the way to be. Like, you know, we're instilling coolness here. Texts are already coming in because that's how cool you are.
I haven't been cool ever.
Can you read that out, please?
Oh, bananas, Tamara. Hello.
Now, Tamara, I want to say the boomerang that you won is coming to your house. Right, you were the winner. And let me tell you something. Robin. There's some boomerangs coming to your house now, especially signed. It's being organised, right? I have to get some more boomerangs because people love these boomerangs. So I think I'm on a winner there with the boomerangs.
I think you are, except I think boomerangs are supposed to come back to you. Do I have to mail it back?
No, you can keep that. But as I said, Tamara, congratulations from Plastic EP's 400 show, which Robin was co-host with our friend Charlene. She's beautiful. I love my auntie. And just to tell you, what a fantastic reply you gave. I want the boomerang so that I can bounce interviews to plastic EP. I thought that was brilliant. You agree with that, Robin, don't you?
Absolutely. I wanted one. I told you, and then I get a message that he's going to send me one. So Tamara, I'm lucky too, right?
Yeah, but let me tell you something now, and don't tell me you don't like this before the guys come on, right? Don't tell me you wouldn't like one of these.
Oh, you're going to send me that too? Thanks.
Not really, but don't you like it?
Yeah. Sure.
Do you reckon that's groovy? The truth. Do you reckon that's groovy?
A wacky wobbler. You put it like on your dashboard
that's right.
of your car.
Look,
and it goes like
I'll just say something. I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. Hey, listen, you've done a very good job with the songs. You know that, don't you? Everybody looks along to the. Can I ask you, have you got that wacky wobbler or not?
No, I don't. I don't have any wacky wobblers. So I think
that's funny.
If you want to send that to me in the package,
I'll tell you something, Robin.
All right, you got to listen carefully. Go like this.
Robin, you have to listen carefully.
Yes.
What comes to your house is going to be a surprise package. I don't want to tell you what's inside yet because I'm organising it. But leave it to me and you'll be totally surprised. And what I'm suggesting is you keep the box, right? This is the smart thing. You open the box from underneath, have a look inside and tape it up again. And then bring the box on the show when we do the buzz and open it up live on the show.
Okay. I won't open it until a show.
Until the show. Can you do that?
Yes, I can do that. Now it's going to take, international mail takes over a month.
That's all right. That's my problem, not yours. You're not paying for it. Don't worry about it.
I didn't say anything about the price. I was just saying how long it takes.
I don't know how long it takes. What do you want me to say? That's life, isn't it? Now, listen, I want to save the songs I played, right? Because these guys are coming on any second. Did you like It's Gotta Be Love? Did you like that song? Or did you like All American Country and Western Superstar or You Forgot?
I love your music.
Yeah, but did you like the one Vicky sang?
Of course.
Let's Start a Rumor. Did you like that one?
Of course.
All right, can you repeat after me before the dudes come on quick?
Sure. What?
It's gotta be love.
It's gotta be love.
Yeah, that's it. Here we go. Watch this.
Anything a little heart desires. Girl, I know my heart's on fire. It's gotta be love that's getting to you. Whatever I say, I know it's true. It's gotta be love that's getting to you. It's gotta be love. Now I'm feeling always crazy. We're so madly in love now, baby. It's gotta be love that's getting to you. Whatever I say, I know it's true. It's gotta be love that's getting to you. It's gotta be love. It's gotta be love that's getting to you. Whatever I say, I know it's true. It's gotta be love that's getting to you. It's gotta be love. It's gotta be love that's getting to you. Whatever I say, I know it's true. It's gotta be love that's getting to you. It's gotta be love. Whatever I say, I know it's true. It's gotta be love, it's gotta be love, it's gotta be love, it's gotta be love.
Now, let me tell you, that's one of the closest songs to a monkey songs. Now, our guest, one of our special guests, is already here, and we love him. Here he is, Mr. Andrew Sandoval. We welcome you so much. There you are.
Hi.
Andrew, how are
And
you?
also, please, Mr. Erik Taros has come in from Beetleland. How are you guys?
We're in Beetleland. Yes, it's Beetleland today, that's for sure.
Hello, Erik. How are you?
Hi there. Nice to see you, Robin. I've met Andrew before. Well, we've met on the phone. We've never actually met in person, Andrew, have we?
We have not. I've actually been on tour. I've been to the UK and around the United States with Robin. So we've had a nice fun time out there doing all kinds of crazy things.
One of these days when I get to hang out with Robin, I've got a few tapes of the New Monks. If you remember the New Monks, I've got one of them playing in New London, Connecticut, I think. Way.
Oh, lovely.
There's a few
Right around the corner. Well, sort of. About an hour from here.
Where are you
I
at?
just want to congratulate Andrew. They've done a fantastic article on Andrew's book. As you know, everyone go out there and buy it. Got to show them now. The monkeys, day-to-day story of the monkeys. Now, that's it. What happens is, I just want to say Rolling Stones has done a fantastic article on you. It's gone from super fan to tour manager to monkeys historian. It's one of the most amazing articles I've read. And Andrew, I've got to say, so well deserved that now the net is turning on and discovering how great Andrew Sandoval is within the monkeys community and as a writer and all the great work that you've done on all your projects. And I just want to congratulate you, myself, Robin and Erik, because it's been a long time coming and you're just a fantastic, down-to-earth person with such great talents.
Well, that's all very nice of you to say. Thank you very much. It's very nice of you. Yeah, it's difficult. When I first saw the article, I was very frightened, not because of anything that I might have said that was wrong or whatever, but just because it's like, what's going to go wrong now? Because it's weird. You know, I'm so much more comfortable being behind the scenes, especially these days, and it's tough to step out of that. But for my book, which I've devoted most of my life to, I really felt it was important to break through that and let people know who I was, because a lot of people still don't know my involvement, and that's okay. I'm happy to be behind the curtain, but for a lot of people, they're like, we saw him out on tour with the monkeys. What's he doing with them? Like, he must be just hanging out or something. So they don't really know the backstory on all that, and maybe that's good. Because
but just let me say something before everyone talks. I interviewed Ivor Davis, the guy who was the man that went with the Beatles 5 years in America, the only US correspondent. Now, what happens is when he went there, he got a call from Mel, come down straight away, the Beatles are going to meet Elvis. So he hopped in his car, went down there, went with the Beatles to meet Elvis. Now, I just want to say, and the Beatles were wondering who this guy was, Ivor Davis. And I told Ivor, you should have turned around and said, I just carry the luggage. Yes, Erik.
Plastic, it's so funny you would mention this, because what am I doing this week?
Let me tell you, Elvis meets the Beatles.
I am transferring the original tour tapes of Larry Kane. These are the masters that were actually out on the road, and one of them is the Ivor Davis and Mal Evans and all the Beatles the next day. So they meet Elvis on the 27th of August, 1965. The next day they're in San Diego backstage. I just transferred it this morning. How funny.
Well, no, have I got ESP or what? Have I got ESP or what?
I think you do, sir. Yes. Plastic ESP, we're going to have to call you.
I love that. Perfect name. But Andrew, I have to say, for anyone who doesn't know you, and I know that, you're not used to being in the limelight, but they should know you because you are probably one of the people I think of when I think of nicest human beings on the planet. You're at the top of the list. So they should know who you are. You also, I'm in awe of the talent here, the talent that both of you have. Actually, you have talent too, Plastic. I'm not leaving you out. But Andrew, this is your first book.
Right.
And given the depth, what impresses me about your writing, oh, look, two of us have that.
Oh, yeah. This is by my knee. I mean, this book is right next to Mark Lewison. This man is the Mark Lewison of the monkeys. That's the highest compliment I can give to anybody.
You're going to really appreciate that book because the next one is going to give you, like, I need to probably have people sign waivers that they're not going to sue me for their hernias having to pick up the next book, because it's not only the actual, thickness of the book with all the extra pages, the actual book itself is larger too. So it's you'll look back fondly on that book when, the good old days when you could lift it with two hands and it didn't hurt you. But it's been a really interesting journey because, I didn't start out trying to do what I've ended up doing. It just sort of presented itself to me. Monkeys presented itself to me. Michael Nesbitt said to me, "Who wants to know all this stuff?" when he saw the original book, and I understood that because it really is like, who does really want to know all this stuff? It's all there. All this stuff is out there, much like looking for the Beatles stuff. I mean, the Beatles story is insane because there's so much stuff that shouldn't be there that's there. By the time the Monkees rolled around, people were ready for this next Beatles, as it were, even though they're not the Beatles. And they covered everything they did, what they had for lunch, what they had, every single day of their lives were photographed from 66 through early 68. There's just so few events that are not covered. And I have a lot of those photos in my book for the first time. And it's much like the Beatles, where it's like, why would the Quarterman's first show where Paul McCartney attends, why would that be survive on audio tape? Why would there be photos? I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. And then why would people have kept their diaries, not their personal ones, but the people who paid them the bills playing small clubs and all this other stuff? But you find this stuff along the way, you collect it, you put it together, and it lines up into a big story. And that's what's fun about research and doing my book. So.
Yeah, there's no question about that. There is a slightly supernatural thing to how much stuff, because I'm still digging and I'm still finding stuff. You would be astounded how much continues to come in here. Only I was telling Plastic in the last show that I did with him, over the early part of the fall, I uncovered 2.5 hours of never before seen 16 millimeter news footage shot of the Beatles on the opening day of their tour, summer 64 tour in San Francisco. It was never ever screened. And it was literally retrieved from the trash, quickly forgotten about. And Mom dies. I think Mom died. And Mom had worked at a TV station. Son says, "Hey, I understand you're the Beatles film guy. Would you like to buy this from me?" And of course, I was like, yes. and there's all sorts of new images. And this stuff keeps happening. I mean, I'm finding new stuff on Larry Kane's tapes that have never been documented or broadcast. So it's really, if you get out there and you're a looker, you're a guy that goes out and looks for this stuff, Andrew, and I can't emphasize this enough to people. I think you and I have had this discussion. It's not rocket science, but it's detective work and diligence and caring and having a passion. And if you get out there and you just keep looking in weird places, look where everyone thinks it's been picked over, and you'll find something. And you know what I love about your book, about the original one from 16 years ago, I think, right? Yeah. It makes it easy for somebody like me. I might find a little piece, and by the way, I have 3 little pieces. Do we do screen share, and I can show you like 10 seconds of this and 10 seconds of that, or something, Plastic, or how does it work?
I don't know how screen share works, because the only thing is I have to upload things. So if we don't do it now, I'm sure we'll do it another time. And I hope another time we can show some rare monkey
that's what I've got. 3 little rare.
got.
I put together a couple of things. One's a a Lost Monkeys Kool-Aid commercial, about 10 seconds of that I haven't completely restored yet. It was in very bad condition, but we did a beautiful Brodsky and Treadway transfer of it, and we're going to bring it back. It's going to take some multi-level, layer masking.
Which one is that, Eric? Because I've been obviously going through a lot of that stuff of late, because I'm at the very end of their career, just finished up 1970, where they were still shooting Kool-Aid commercials in 70, some of which I've never seen. And
I think this one is 70 because it's the one where the shot comes in on a big cardboard kind of like clown.
Oh, like a mouth. Yeah.
Yes. And
I have seen this, but in poor quality. So.
Oh, this is pretty good, but it's okay. The print was really faded, but it we had the best possible wet gate transfer done of it. What I have to do now is to go in and do what we call like layer masking. I have to go in there and do an adjustment layer and just bring out, because to get the color vivid again, some of the flesh tones had to go a bit purple. So I got to go back in there just on a layer mask, multi-layer masking and pull that out. But it's awesome. It's complete. And it's like a lost little artifact. The other thing I was going to show tonight is a few seconds of, Davey in November of 65 was on Shindig.
Yes, he was.
He did a song that really kind of is reminiscent of Daddy's song. It's a real kind of show tune thing. But I was able to do a really nice transfer from a totally clean kinescope of that show. So, and actually the videotape of the show still exists on 2-inch, but the kinescope looks pretty damn nice. I was going to show about 15 seconds of that. And the other thing was just a little bit of a friend of mine shot a home movie of the Monkees from the second row in July of 67 at the Boston Garden. So I was going to just show a few seconds of that. If we can figure out how to screen share, happy to do it.
I just got a suggestion, Eric. If you can put that on my email or my messenger now, I can try and get it up on the screen if I can, if it's not too much trouble.
I think you told me to keep it to certain lengths. So why don't we try one of them? Because I think you said if it was below 25 meg, I'll see if my email will get it to you. How's that?
Do you have a share button on the bottom of the screen? I have one. I'm not sure you're seeing that.
Where's the share?
I can't see it. Yes, I do have a share button, and I have to put my glasses on. And they're terrible, but want to give it a go and see if it works?
Give it a go if you want from your end. If you can't, as I said to you, if you can send it to me on Messenger, I can try.
All right, well, let me see. I'm going to try share screen.
I'll do a little show and tell while you figure that out, Eric. This is a photo
it says allow.
I just discovered, which is going to glare because it's an old photo. But this is Peter Tork. But in February, this is on his birthday in February of 1969 after he left the Monkees. Apparently, it says on the back that he had just had some cake, which does sound like Peter. But yeah, I just so people know the lengths I go to, it's not just because Peter was out of the Monkees in 1969 and 70. I still tried to track down photos of him, and there weren't many professional photos because he was out of the limelight mostly. But I've got some of these fan photos that have just been discovered. So these are some final additions, things getting added to the book. This one,
Andrew, can I just suggest with that photo, if you bring it closer to the screen, we'll see a great shot. Take that first photo and bring it forward.
No, people have to buy my book now.
That's right.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know, but let me tell you now.
They'll be selling the Peter Tork birthday T-shirts from 1969. So anyway, I just thought I'd do a little show and tell while Eric set up his thing.
For whatever reason, it doesn't seem to want to let me do it. It says my browser is blocking it, but let me see if it will. Am I like taking over your whole screen right now? Is that
no. You're right. But if there's a problem, Eric, just send it on my messenger and I'll do it from this end if I can.
All right, let me see if I can do that. Okay, you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to go do messenger.
So I'll talk about one more lost thing. This picture of David here, which I'm just holding this way for the glare. This is David taken in November of 1968, just before Head was premiered. This is in Philadelphia. He appeared on a television show that's lost now called Jerry's Place, which was hosted by Jerry Blavat, who was a DJ. He was on the episode, one of the episodes of the Monkees' second season, and he had a show, and it was the last time all four of the Monkees appeared on television together live before they taped their TV special, which was not live. But the audio from it survives, and I have a series of photographs a fan took in the audience of the monkeys at, you can see the sort of the, on the other side, a little bit of, it says Jerry's Place. They're the only photos that exist of this lost TV show and TV appearance. And I dug up a lot of things on TV appearances that are now long gone, but you never know. Someone like Erik might turn them up on a 16 millimeter kinescope someday, or they might show up on a 2-inch quad video that someone's stolen from somewhere. You never know. These things happen. So
stolen. Wait. What's all this about? Sometimes things just happen to come into existence.
I've heard all those stories. I was at a garage sale, and it just so happened that I found. I just happen to have every 2-inch quad of
my life difficult.
No, I had to be honest. Recently, somebody contacted me and they said, I went to the Long Beach swap meet, which is near me in California, not really near me, but they said I collect 16 millimeters, and I have a 16 millimeter setup myself. And they said, I bought this 16 millimeter of the Porpoise song from Head. But what's weird is I was like, oh, okay, well, we have the negatives and all that stuff in the archive for that. Well, this doesn't have any of the solarization on the faces that they added later. This is like a test print before they did that.
Oh, nice.
And then it was right as COVID hit, and they were like, well, I was going to try and do something with this, but I need money. why don't you buy it from me now? So I bought that and had that transfer. But stuff just kind of turns up. I don't know if I collect monkey stuff or it just kind of things like that fall into.
It finds its way to you. Like I just recently, this past month, have been working, and I never thought I would get a gig on this, but I've been working on the Peter Jackson film, Get Back. Okay. So, and the reason, a lot of people were asking me after 8 days, because I was on 8 days for years. I mean, literally, I was with the original production crew before Ron Howard came in. And I think the first phone call I took on 8 days was probably 2008. And we released in September of 2016. So the gestation period of 10 elephants, And so, but with the Get Back thing, I was getting loads and loads of calls because I've been working on a John Lennon film. I worked on the Bee Gees. Well, yeah, I was consulted a little bit on the Bee Gees picture that you were in, Andrew, and then also the Laurel Canyon, A Place and Time. I worked on that one, though I didn't get a credit for that. But I was getting all these phone calls. Hey, are you working on Get Back? And I was like, they don't need me. They've got everything. It's all sitting in the warehouse, rotting away. And so, lo and behold, about 6 weeks ago, I got a call, and they were like, "Hey, we're looking for something. We need you. Do you have time to do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I tracked it down. I can't tell you what it is, but it was a particular film that had been lost for 43 years.
Well, that's great.
Great. So it's really going to be awesome. I mean, like I say, Peter Jackson is. This is going to be truly, truly, truly exciting. This film. And
well, I can't wait. I mean, it's even with the delay, I'm still, we've waited this long, and the little teaser was so great.
This made it better. By the way, I'll bet you, this is just my little informal thing. I would be willing to bet that the teaser is not as good looking as what's going to come out. Just so you know.
That sounds great. I'm going to be happy one way or the other. I'm not a complainer. I'm more of like bring it on. Let's see what it is.
Techniques that Mr. Jackson uses, I've been experimenting with the same things. When I give Beatles lectures and stuff, I should pull out one of the posters shortly. We just did one we do them as one as a fundraiser for this old vaudevillian theater that we give our lectures in. And oh damn, I'm having a senior moment. I can't remember what I was about to tell you about this. It'll come back to me. By the way, I am a COVID survivor. I don't know if I've told you this, Andrew, or I've not met you before, Robin. And one of the problems I'm what they call a long hauler. Like I still have symptoms, and one of them is this brain fog thing that's really, really embarrassing. Like you'll be in the middle of a sentence and you go, what was I doing again? So if that happens a couple of times in the phone call, it's
no worries,
just because I'm still getting over the effects of this stuff. So whatever the hell I was blabbing about will come back.
Glad you're better. Glad you're doing better, though.
Yes, it's something I would say to people, if you can possibly avoid it, do.
That's what we're all trying to do, I think. Robin, what's the latest with you? I haven't seen you in a while.
What is the latest with me? Oh, just trying to get through like everybody else. Wondering what's kind of next kind of happened on Plastic a few months back. He had interviewed me about Peter and then asked if I would do some interviews with him. So that's been fun for me.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
You want to tell a funny story from when we were on tour together in 2011 with David, Mickey, and Peter? There's got to be a million of them. I have a million of them, but
there are a lot of them. It's hard to even pick one. I had told a story about being asked for my autograph. Peter had asked me to go back to Royal Albert Hall. It was right before the show. He needed nail glue to glue on his nails so that he could play guitar.
Right.
And I could not, for the life of me, get a taxi. And the show was coming up. He really needed it fast. So I'm walking, the hotel wasn't that far.
No, we were at the Royal Garden Hotel, which is where the Monkees stayed in 1967, and there's lots of newsreel footage of them there. We stayed there again when they played Royal Albert Hall in May of 2011, so it's kind of fun.
Right. So what was it, like a couple miles down the road? Wasn't that far?
Less than, maybe a mile,
I just was trying to catch a taxi so that I would save some time, but of course no one would stop for me. I don't know. I can't stop a taxi. I'm just that kind of person. So I had heels on, and I'm not the kind of person who wears heels either. So I decided to take my shoes off, and I broke into a run to go back to the hotel to be able to get his nail glue. And I got there and I got the nail glue, and I'm down in the lobby, and a fan from Australia. Do you remember the fan who traveled and went to every concert? He wanted to share a taxi with me. And I said, great. I knew we were going to the same place. Let's go. Because of course you could catch a taxi right outside of your hotel. And as we're heading back, he just looks at me, he says, may I have your autograph? And I looked like, are you talking to me? And he said, yes, you're Peter's assistant. It's just kind of funny how people, when you're affiliated with somebody, think that you have that kind of fame when you don't. So that was kind of fun. I got him the nail glue. All was well. That was quite a concert at Royal Albert Hall. Great show. The energy in that room was fantastic. But I think the best part for me of that tour was just meeting great people like you and everyone else affiliated with the Monkees. So a lot of fun for me.
Are there no Poundlands near Royal Albert Hall? Is it that snooty of a neighborhood down there? Poundland, you can get everything for £1, right? So get some super glue. Come here, Peter.
I don't know.
It's South Kensington. There are some less expensive stores, but it's a very nice area there. That walk from Royal Garden to Royal Albert Hall. There's also the story in 1967 when they stayed there. I believe that Mickey was very, very high. This is after a party that was given. They always say the Beatles threw them a party, but NEMS actually threw them the party. Vic Lewis, who worked at NEMS and worked for Brian, he organized the Monkees tour in '67, and he threw this party, which all the Beatles, save for Ringo, or did Ringo attend that one too? They all attended. And the Monkees, actually, I think it was Davey was the only one who didn't attend that party. But afterwards, they were all coming down off of it, and Mickey led a whole throng of people into the park, which was next to the hotel, and just entertained crowd without a microphone or anything, just being Mickey in 1967. So
it was natural. I was I was looking through stuff. What could we show tonight? And I was looking through. I got a really nice print of the premiere episode of Circus Boy, and so I was looking through that. I was like, "Can I take 10 seconds out?" Nah, screw it. I'll go the stuff everybody knows, and might get into that and start going down the Kinescope Road or whatever. But yeah, I mean, to kind of go back to what Robin was saying about getting somebody to ask for your autograph. It is a very strange thing. After I had a similar experience in the premiere when we did 8 Days a Week in September of 2016. It was premiered at the Leicester Square Odeon, which was a huge thing for me because that's where all the Bond films were premiered and the Beatle films and stuff like that. And I used to live in London many years ago. And so, you know, I used to go there. I'd see Star Wars. You know, I had personal experiences and stuff at the Leicester Square Odeon. So that was a humongous crowd. I know it probably didn't look like it on television, but there was a huge crowd to see who was going to turn up for the premiere. And they made this very serpentine like walkway to get to the theater door so that people could see the celebrities. And it was actually, you know, a good idea. British people behave. And they're all there waiting to see Madonna, waiting to see the Gallagher brothers and all that stuff. And I'm walking down this thing, and I kind of showed up, you know, sort of alone. And, you know, I have my little suit on, and I'm walking down, and there's these people, and I can hear them going, "Are we supposed to know him?" Nah. And I'm like, "Dude, I'm nobody. I'm just a guy that worked in the film." "Oh, okay." And I get a little bit further down. I'm just about to get in the door, and they go, "Look, it's Erik." And I was like, fuck me. And then I turn around and Clapton is right behind me. Okay. But for that split second, you're like, that's possible in a 5-minute walk, you know, going through this thing. Anyway, did you?
Anyway, gentlemen, you don't know what happened. I got the clips. I had to convert them to MP4. Plastic EP has done it. Ready to show them now. Let me tell you, Erik, I get recognized in my supermarket by 80-year-old women. So don't worry about it. All right, here we go.
I do too, except they think I'm Steve Martin, and I usually tell them, "You must be crazy."
Well, I got to tell you, I'm a cross between Al Lewis from the Munsters and Robert De Niro. That's what they say. All right, let's watch these two clips. Here's the first one.
All right.
All right, this is a silent clip. I just the little bit I wanted to show you was how clever this was with the knees, right? Coming up as the teeth. I thought that was brilliant. But you could see how bad the flesh tones look. So I got to go in there and do all kinds of monkeying around with. Get it? Monkeying around. It's a disease. But anyway, I got to go in and really do a layer adjustments and stuff to that. But the soundtrack is beautiful of it too. And that's indicative of a lot of things I have to do, which is that print was in horrible, horrible shape. But we did what we call a wet gate transfer, which is what they used to do at the old Hollywood films, the 35 mil. So it as scratched up as a lot of that looked, it was actually worse. And I can go in there also and do frame by frame, which I did with some of the stuff in 8 days, where I would go in and, you know, do hundreds of frames, you know, export them one at a time, clean them up in Photoshop, put them back in. So I would do a lot of that stuff. So that you're seeing that in very rough state. What was the other one? Did you get all three or just the two?
I got two. You only sent me two. Is there a third? But what? Cheers, Davey.
Going to do if it gets about? What are we going to do if your dad finds out we're in love? Well, what did your sister say when she saw us kiss? What have I got to pay so she won't talk about this? So what are we going to do if your dad finds out we're in love?
All right, there you go. Yeah, I can't play the whole thing, but I did send you a third one. It might have just come up as a black screen.
I'll have a look. If not, just send me the third one. I'll convert it.
David did a lot of promotion for that single, and he was on a lot of TV shows. And he actually, what I didn't know until this last year when I was going back, and I didn't just take for granted this, I got the early part done. I sort of went back and dug through stuff. And he went back to England in September of '65, just before the ad for the Monkees hit in the trade papers, Hollywood Reporter and Variety, and he appeared on Thank Your Lucky Stars, and did that in England, which probably doesn't exist anymore, that particular performance. But he also did it on, he was on Where the Action Is, and he was also, he did a show called Hollywood Discotheque that was a local LA show.
Yeah, I remember that one. Well, you know, things do keep turning up, and there's a group that I've assisted in the past who are very active in the pursuit of recovery of these things. They're called Kaleidoscope over in England, and you know, maybe once a year they put together something where they show what's been discovered. You know, kind of lost and found thing, and literally finding stuff all the time. I mean, about 5 feet over that way, I might even go grab it just to show everybody. I got a phone call, I don't know, about a year ago now, I guess it was, right after lockdown. So I guess it was a year ago. And this guy calls me up and he says, hey, I understand you're the Beatles guy and blah, blah, blah. He goes, I'm down here in Florida. I'm in the video business, but my next door neighbor who passed away a few years ago, his wife is now getting rid of all of his stuff. And she handed me this, and it's a quad. You know, it's a 2-inch quad.
Mm-hmm.
And according to the paperwork, it's the master tape of, January 1967 when ABC television had shown the Beatles at Shea Stadium, which was now an 18-month-old sort of item. You know, had been shown in England the previous March of '66, but hadn't been on the U.S. TV. So that's like the next thing I'm going to just kind of figure out. I'm trying to do this for Apple actually because I know that there's a lot of trouble. That thing should really be out, but I think the initial mono soundtrack is kind of lost. Except it will be on this item.
Right.
And I also, as part of Larry Kane's, I'm doing a big project with Larry Kane now, which I think people will be excited. It's going to be like a box set in a volume. But I think the really exciting things are going to be the lost tapes and the lost video films of Larry is involvement with the Beatles. One of the tapes I transferred today was, if you ever watched the Beatles at Shea Stadium, there's this thing sort of at the beginning before the performances where you hear each Beatle commenting on Shea Stadium, what that experience was like. Well, those were all recorded by Larry 3 days later in Atlanta. And I only found, like I said, boy, when you hear the master tape, it's, wow, you're right in the room with him. So it's just another thing that Larry and I are going to kind of be putting over to Apple to say, hey, this will make the reconstruction. If you ever do it, this would make the reconstruction a whole lot easier. You can really do it. And, Giles especially, who these things tend to fall to him these days, he's a real stickler for quality, and it would make him probably more likely to be revisiting it. I mean, I really don't know if they are thinking of that. Everything right now is about Get Back, so that's
I mean, it's a problematic production, Shea Stadium, because obviously they dubbed in bits of they used parts of the live performance and then they dubbed in bits from other places.
Well, so, CTS too. They went to CTS Studios in January of '66. And when 6 months later, actually, one of the songs is just completely re-recorded. And the funny thing about that is, if they had beautiful recordings, from Los Angeles, that's what they did with Twist and Shout, just fly that in there. But I think there are, I don't know if a lot of people know this, there were multi-track masters of that show. I mean, there was a 4-track of the show. The first song is all screwed up, Twist and Shout, because they're set in levels. But the rest of it exists. They should have just remixed it from that. I did ask Giles about it, and he did say, well, you know what? To be honest with you, we couldn't find it right now. So now maybe subsequently, believe me, I know how this stuff happens. Stuff gets lost. Stuff walks out the door. All kinds of things can happen with this. But I think there's a lot of hope, especially with advances in spectral analysis software, where you can take a mono signal and beautifully split it up now and remix it into stereo. And that's what I had my brain fog. I was going to be mentioning to you guys that both Peter Jackson and myself experiment. He did, if you ever saw his amazing film there, They Shall Not Grow Old, where he took films from 1917 and made them fix 60 frames a second, went in and cleaned them all up and all that stuff. I've been doing the same thing with old Beatles kinescopes. And the Davy one that you just saw 20 seconds of, that's on the list to get 60 framed. So, because it's such a clean print, it's really, really nice. Yeah. Did you find it?
I've done it. I've got to ask you now.
Yeah.
The last clip, is this a world premiere? No one's seen it except on this show?
No one's ever seen it.
All right. Thank you for that. There you go, Robin. There you go, Andrew. Let's see it right now.
Don't expect too much.
Just tell me what it is. Give the introduction.
Want to tell us what it is, Erik?
Okay, what it is. Okay, what this is a good buddy of mine, Beatle freak, monkey freak, music freak, always managed to be in the right place at the right time, always armed with his 8mm movie camera. And some years ago, I was transferring some Beatle stuff he shot, and he goes, hey, do you like the Monkees? And I go, are you kidding? Who doesn't like the Monkees? And so he goes, well, it's not long. It's about a minute long that I got. But I was in the second row to see them at Boston Garden, July 22, I think it was, 1967. And I said, yeah, I don't care. He goes, look, I was getting beat up by the kids. The girls are screaming. I'm getting elbowed. I said, I don't care. There's not a bad picture of the Monkees. Just give it to me. So, ladies and gentlemen, the world premiere, 10 or 15 glorious seconds of the Beatles. I mean, excuse me. No, do it. The Monkees.
The Monkees. You got to say the Monkees. You can't say the Beatles.
So I really know they're not doing. They're probably doing Stepping Stone there. I'm one of the things I do for Beatles films is I look at live films and I go, okay, I know these things. But all right, they're doing this song, and I'll dub something underneath. I just did that for fun. I just like, oh, I also want to have some music underneath. But it was really a bunch of different shots. I think one is just Mickey talking between songs, and then just judging from the body movements and stuff, I would guess Davey was doing backing vocals to Stepping Stone there, but I just threw it under there for shits and giggles, as they say. But that's very indicative of what kinds of home movies I get. There are things you can do in post-production. Nothing was done to that film. So there are ways of isolating and smoothing out the action, which I'll probably eventually do with that 1-minute film. It's such a long list of stuff I got to do that, you know, Andrew will tell you, all of a sudden 15 years goes by, right? So
Andrew, what's next for you? I know that hopefully in the fall there will be a Monkees tour, assuming that we are past the pandemic and we can start to enjoy ourselves and get out and see concerts again.
Right.
And in the meantime, besides promoting your book, first, why don't you tell people where you can get your book again, so that I know people who are watching are going to be very interested in that?
Well, right now you can go to beatlandbooks.com and you can reserve a book. You're not pre-ordering it. You're not buying a book. You are allowed till Monday to reserve a book. And that means I'm going to make a set amount based on the amount of reservations I have. And if for some reason you've reserved a book and you've decided, no, it's not for me, I don't want it, now is a great time to write to us and say, hey, I don't want my book, because we have plenty of orders. And the last thing I want to do is overproduce a book and have it be sitting around for forever. I want to make enough just for the people who want it and for it to keep its value. Everybody who's invested in my project, it's not like a Kickstarter or anything, but everybody who's given me their good faith and said, hey, I know you're going to deliver a great book, and I want to reserve one. Great. I want to bring you that book as soon as I can. So it's going to go to print on Monday, and that's also the cutoff day for the orders. And so over the weekend, we're fixing the index, and we've been tweaking some photos and things like that. So go to beatlandbooks.com, and there's lots of other information and other interviews. One I did with Plastic EP. You can find a link for that there, and you can find links to the Rolling Stones stuff and all of the other things. The next projects I'm working on a multi CD box set, many CDs, and there's also DVDs on a group from the 60s called the Bonzo Dog Band, and that's going to include all of their original studio albums, copious amount of outtakes, all of their BBC recordings, plus DVDs, which I'm not involved in that part of it, but DVDs of their television appearances, of which there are quite a few, because they were regularly on a TV show called Do Not Adjust Your Set with members of Monty Python before Monty Python. Yeah. But they're an amazing group. And they also were friends of Peter Tork and visited him in the 60s. So it all comes back into the Monkees story somehow. So I'm doing that. And then maybe we're going on tour in the fall. I mean, the maybe is just society. Is society ready to go back to see live things? A lot of people are really excited about it. Michael and Mickey are excited to go back to work. And a lot of our band and crew, of course, but until it's safe, we can't. So so that's the plan. But I have my hands full between now and the actual delivery of the book to the people in June, because it's going to be, I'm not hand delivering the books, but it's going to a fulfillment house, and there's a lot of overseas books going to Australia, to the UK, to Japan, all these different places. I've got a lot of customers I didn't have 2-3 weeks ago. So I've got to figure out my best foot forward to get everybody their books, and that's what I'm up to.
Well, if you come
That's
over
right,
to my
Andrew.
house,
I just want to say,
I was going to say it's
Plastic
probably
EP
cheaper
has
than
ordered the
sending
super
stuff that-
deluxe version. Go
Well,
Aaron.
I was just going to say.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I was going to say, if you do come, it's probably cheaper than sending it. If you come to my house and we can have a Beetle Day, or a Monkeys Day.
Well, sure. People do think for the cost of the book, because the book is quite expensive. Total disclosure that I'm going to come to their house, maybe bring them a pizza and give them a back rub because it's so pricey. But if you're in the Beetle world, and you know, like Genesis Publications, those books are like twice the price of mine. They're not as voluminous. So I'm doing the best I can with what I've got. A much smaller audience than the Beatles, but a very wonderful audience that I love. So, and also if you get the Super Deluxe Edition, like Plastic EP said, when I did my interview with him, I didn't know what was going to be in the edition, but because I've had to cut so many photo pages just to get it sort of manageable that it'll fit through the slot, I'm doing in the Super Deluxe a whole book of just photos. And mostly unpublished things. I bought up a lot of negatives over the years. And so people come to see the live shows have seen these great big photos that I've had projected behind the Monkeys. A lot of those come from my collection. And so I'll be presenting another 32 pages worth of photos to people only in the Super Deluxe Edition. But as far as information, the recording sessions, the radio appearances, the television appearances, all the live concerts, everything between 1942 and 1970. It's in even the least expensive edition. I'm not skimping on the details for anybody at any level that you can buy in at. It's all going to be there. But it's a library book. It's something that'll last you more than a lunchtime, at least a lifetime. And you know, you can enjoy it. It's not a book that you're going to read overnight. And the original is like 300 pages, and this one is over 700. So it's a lot of stuff to go through. So take your time, digest it, you know, plan out that you're not gonna take this to the beach. This is gonna be many nights at home, you know, a little bit at a time.
With white gloves on.
You put it in a wagon at the beach and pull it along, and you'd be just fine.
I wanted to have a normal book like everybody else, one that everybody could take around and it'd be easy. But in order to get it all done, I was going to go further into the future with it and all this stuff. I just had to cut it off because, you know, you hear about so many of these speculative dream projects that people have, and they're always wonderful ideas. But I had a finite amount of time, this window with COVID, to get this done while the world was kind of frozen. And it also gave me a lot of hope, too, to have something really to focus my energy on that I would do every day. And but I also knew that at some point, like it's happening now, everybody's getting their vaccines, which is wonderful. People are starting to go out to restaurants. The economy is kind of going to come back. All these wonderful things are happening. But also the demands are going to be there for me from other people wanting, hey, you've been ignoring us for a year. You have to do this. You have to do that. And there won't be any time to sit endlessly with my British newspapers that I have behind me, behind this big screen, or my, you know, my newspaper portals or whatever else. All of that has to go away. All the photos have gone into boxes. It's time to move on and share what I have. You know, it's like pencils down. You know, the contest is over. This is what I've got, and it's, you know, it's ready for people.
Erik, I just got to say, Andrew discovered 2,000 legal papers about when the Monkeys were being sued with Don Kirshner. That's what held him up, because no one has seen that, and he was the only one that went like into Fort Knox and flew there, spent his time going through every document. You couldn't do it now. Tell him about that, Andrew, will you?
Well, somebody, another fan collector friend of mine, had alerted me that they had bought a deposition of Davy Jones's off of eBay, and I wasn't initially that intrigued by it because I just thought, well, what's going to be in this deposition? I mean, what's Davy going to say? Especially, you know, he may have been under duress. He may not have been that honest or whatever. But the deposition was done in May of '67 when the Monkeys were literally the biggest band in the world, even eclipsing the Beatles for that short time. And what I read when he sent me a few photos of it, I was like, I'm blown away. He's incredibly transparent and honest about this stuff. And what's more, the people asking the questions, I assume that the lawyers involved in this thing wouldn't know anything about the Monkeys like I know or the other fans know. They actually knew a lot more than I know. That's what I learned. And immediately I was like, I have to find the rest of these depositions because these people were at the top of their game, these attorneys. They really knew what they were doing. They had done an amazing amount of discovery, and they had actually rebuilt the entire monkey story in 1967 from the inception in 65 through to their cataclysmic breakdown with Don Kirshner. And they were going point by point. They had dates, they had evidence, they had all kinds of stuff. And so I wrote to the court of New York that kept the archive on the papers, and they allowed me under supervision, strict supervision, to examine the papers and take notes, which I did, looked at more than 2,000 pages. And these depositions that had turned up on eBay had been in the personal collection of Don Kirshner. And were found, he had left them behind at a home in Florida. So they had been sold off. And I traced those back and found some other things. It was a really fascinating journey. And it took me into a different realm of understanding the story, because the story I knew was told after the fact. This was being told while it was happening, much like your Larry Kane tapes or other things that are a little less refutable than somebody 20 years on. Oh, that wasn't anything, or whatever. Peter Tork, who Robin worked with for years, had a great memory, and I felt so bad because there were so many times during this book I wished I could have called him up, and Mickey said the same thing to me. He goes, "Oh, we could have asked Peter, but he's not here." It's the saddest thing, because he would be the person I'd say, "Peter, where did you play in the Village?" Okay, Abdo's Cafe Wa, Cafe, not, he would just run down the list. Okay, but what about this? Oh, okay, well, that was this, and but occasionally he would say, "I don't remember it like that." No.
Wow.
And I would have other details. So I'd have to say, I respect you completely, Peter, but this is what some other people say. So I present both sides of it.
That's so challenging to have to sift through that. But when you get something like that deposition and you're able to, really dig up a detailed piece of history like that in the moment, all our memories kind of color everything. We almost rewrite stories in our brain to be the way we want to remember them, which can make your jobs a lot more challenging when you're digging like that.
There's always multiple versions.
I found a great 2 resources. One is legal stuff, because just as Andrew was saying, when if you go into the John Lennon FBI files or whatever, which are highly detailed, because of the nature of the profession, they have to be that detailed, and they have to be as accurate as they can. The other great lost place that nobody ever looks, and this is a little professional secret I'm putting out there for all of you folks. I have found more interesting films of the Beatles and the Stones in police archives. So when the Beatles and the Stones, and presumably the Monkees, I haven't tried it with the Monkees, come to town in the 60s, they were great training opportunities for police and crowd control. And, there's a couple of beautiful films from Germany. There's a fantastic one that was the center of a big lawsuit a few years ago in Japan. I could tell you this: if you ever come to my house and I show you the Beatles police film from Vancouver, and especially the Stones film from Vancouver, how those police were not sued, I've never seen such abuse of fans. I mean, they are literally holding guys in headlocks and just letting them have it. And it's all on film. It's like, wow. The police definitely used the supergroups and the media event groups to train people on what to do with water cannons and horses and stuff like that. So it's a great place to look, and no one ever thinks of it, Andrew.
No, I know. Well, what was fascinating for me with the book is I'd always heard that that Bob Rafelson and Bert Schneider, who were the creators of the Monkees TV show, and essentially the creators of the Monkees, they were the ones who had the idea to do a group, and then they got script writers Paul Mazursky and Larry Tucker to script out how the sitcom would play out. But they took the Monkees to Dodger Stadium to see the penultimate Beatles concert in 1966, and to say, hey, this is what your concerts are going to be like, which was kind of wishful thinking on their part. And the Monkees actually never played a place the size of Dodger Stadium in LA. They played Hollywood Bowl, where the Beatles had done the previous 2 years. But it was really fascinating to see. I talked to them afterwards, the Monkees, about their experience going to see the Beatles. It wasn't like, it was fantastic, the Beatles, this and that. They were huge fans of the Beatles, but they looked at the show, they looked at the Beatles' performance and their staging and their concert as though, what can we do that the Beatles aren't doing?
Yeah.
And their first idea was, the Beatles are so great, but they're only on stage for like 25 minutes. We want to do a longer show. So the Monkees concerts were always, even in the 60s, over an hour, about 55 to 75 minutes. The other thing they said, the Monkees' observation was, we noticed that visually it was just the four of them ran on stage, did their songs and left. They could have used visuals. They were such a visual band. So we took a screen with us. And the Monkees were one of the first bands ever to use a big screen behind them, and starting in late 66 and going all the way through 1969, all their tours, which they showed footage of their TV show, but they also showed race riots and freedom marches and all kinds of political stuff they got away with, showing to thousands of kids. The Monkees had a very subversive message out there, but they looked at the Beatles, and I don't think that they really felt that competitive with the Beatles, but I think that they looked at it as like, what creative things can we do that are like the Beatles, but do it on a different level? And it's so interesting. The Beatles really embraced the Monkees. I thought that was a really incredible takeaway. Why the Beatles didn't need the Monkees, but they liked them.
I think what they saw in the Monkees was a little bit of themselves. Obviously, it was based on the kind of Hard Day's Night story. But I think just what you were saying there, the Beatles did not, any of them, come from a theatrical background the way half of the Monkees did. And I think that really played in. That was part of where I see a lot of parallels, is the idea of the Monkees, much like the Beatles, to me, were synthesists. They took what was lying around. You know, I mean, Davey was every bit as comfortable, you know, with a show tune, in a sense, or something, you know, and all of that stuff really shone through to me with them. So it didn't surprise me that, you know, they shied away from the sort of Shea Stadium and the Dodger Stadium experience, which were, if you were into the day-to-day politics of what was happening backstage, those were harrowing experiences. I mean, really, I think there was joy on their faces for the moments, the 25 minutes on stage, but in a lot of the shows, and it really wasn't reported for the Beatles on the 66 tour, 25 or 30 minutes was as much as the police could hold these people from basically rioting. So, right. And a lot of the shows did end up with some sort of, you know, I can't think of the word right now, but just sort of the bubble burst and out rushed the crowd. And it was a dangerous situation. How more people didn't get hurt, I really don't know. So I think the Monkees made the right decision to, you know, kind of limit the size of the gigs and not do that. I think there's a quote somewhere: "We don't want our fans paying good money to see ants on a stage," or some. I'm paraphrasing one of them. Might have been Mike.
Right.
You know, and I think that was a good decision. I don't think the Beatles liked those big shows. I'm sorry, EP. What were you going to say?
Gentlemen, I just want to say something. We're going to do a wrap up in a moment. I've got a few texts to read out, but before I do, I just want to say, adding on to what Andrew said, a lot of generations wouldn't understand that they had the big multi-screen behind them, like multimedia. But not only that, they jumped out of fake Vox speakers when they came on the stage. A lot of people don't know that. So that's something to mention. If you can run through these texts quickly for us, Robin, please.
Sure thing. Raymond says, thank you for everything in Monkees community. Andrew Sandoval.
Thank you, Raymond.
Yes, we certainly do. So cool. I agree, Jeff. Spot on there. Charles Rosenegg.
Oh, hi, Charles.
Talking Get Back with Erik and Monkees with Andrew. What could be better? Oh, yes, seeing Robin looking cool as ever. Well, he made me wear glasses. I did take them off, but okay.
I could have worn glasses.
Hey, everybody, from Charlie, I have my hardcover copy pre-ordered. That's great. We hope that everybody out there will go straight to beatlandbooks.com and order this book. We're excited.
Andrew, I've got to say something. Every time you come on our show, I notice we're selling books. Have you noticed that?
We're doing really well with the books.
How does that happen?
There's a Bonza Dog Band reference there.
Hi, Charlie. So
right.
You know,
I'll tell you
say this one thing, because I said it without Andrew here, which is, anybody who knows, you know, my commitment to the Beatles things and rock and roll in general and Bowie and stuff. I'm not blowing smoke up the guy's rear end when I say this is the Mark Lewison. I should say that is the Mark Lewison of the Monkees. And if you respect Mark's work or my work or whatever, like I say, that book is outside of Beatles book, his old Monkeys book was sitting right at my knee all the time in that bookshelf right below my desk. So, I can't wait to get mine, and you shouldn't be able to wait to get yours. You're going to be reading it for the rest of your freaking life, and that's a good thing.
Andrew, I also want to say, you got to understand, I got my books everywhere. I actually own the original book, but I couldn't be bothered getting it because I'll never find it. I'll need a year, all right? So I don't want to be left out. You got to know that I bought your original book. That's how much of a fan I am, but listen to this. The best news is this one. This is what I love, right? I just get a kick out of this. Just ordered Super Deluxe hello from Ottawa, Canada. Thank you, Rick. Everyone out there that's watching in the world, go out now to Beatland Books. Buy whichever version you want to buy because they're all great. And I want to say, on behalf of myself, Plastic EP, and Robin B, and Erik Taros for showing those fantastic clips and showing that worldwide exclusive
Worldwide
clip.
premiere, man.
We cannot thank you enough, Erik and Andrew Sandoval. I've got to tell you, one of the greats. I take my hat off to both you guys because it's like a powerhouse. And Andrew, as I said, we can't wait for the pre-launch. You got it with Jody Rickson, right, of Mickey's CD.
Right.
I put myself as one of the 100 in there.
Yeah, Michael's got a compilation record of outtakes from the RCA era coming out. It's an exciting time to be a Monkees fan. And a lot of people would think, why is your book company called Beatland Books? Is it like a Beatles thing? Obviously, the Beatles are my favorite band, but it's not. There's an obscure movie from the 60s. You would love, Plastic EP. Maybe you know it. It's called Gonks Go Beat.
Yes, I've seen it.
Yeah, about a guy who comes down from outer space, and he has to deal with, it's not a mods and rockers thing. It's a Beatland versus Ballad Isle. The two factions are battling, and he has to sort of assimilate to these two different things and bring peace to the world. So that's why it's Beatland. That's why.
I love it.
Erik, I've got one of the biggest questions in the world that Andrew won't ask you, but I need to ask you since I've got you on now.
Uh-oh.
Why is it that in 2021, when I talk to hardcore Beatle fans like yourself, and I mention I'm a big Monkees fan, and they come out and say, I am too. Unless you ask a Beatle hardcore person, are you a Monkees fan? They will not tell you. But things have changed now.
I just
Time has passed, and I'm finding that every Beatle person I'm talking to is into the Monkees. Have you noticed that? I just thought I'd tell you.
Because how it was sold to us in America as a kid who was an original fan. I mean, I've got an air check that I love to play for people of right after the Beatles played their final concert in Boston. Within a week, the big DJ who introduced them, or one of the two who introduced them on stage in Boston, is basically saying, "Are we all going to be out at the airport next week to see the Monkees, like the next thing?" So they were very dovetailed, at least in the presentation back in the day. I think a lot of that gets forgotten. Also, of course, the records did so much better than anyone expected. I mean, they were gigantic hits. Everybody loved them instantly. It was instant karma, right? And the Beatles loved them. I mean, there's outtake footage from the session.
That's the thing. I mean, that part, the Beatles had great taste. They loved Harry Nilsson. They loved the Monkees. They really picked up on a genuine thing from the Monkees. And so that's why George Harrison asked Peter to play banjo on Wonderwall. That's why John invited Michael to stay at his house, not just at a hotel. That's why, Davy's at the recording session for Revolution #1. Why Ringo shows up when the First National Band played their first gigs in London in 1970. I mean, the Beatles got it. And so hopefully the Beatles fans can get it too.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
now before we wrap, I just want to say, I'm going to cross over to you, Robin, to wrap it up if you've got no more questions, but I want to say really what the Monkees are. The Monkees bring happiness. That's what it is. People reflect on their childhood in happier times. We had the greatest lives back there in the 60s. I know because I'm a first-generation fan. There was nothing like it, and even today, you mention the word Monkees, and it's fun. It's their TV show. It's the happiness that they give. It allows you to get away out of the doom and gloom every day of your life and just have happiness. That is the true recipe of success of the Monkees. I cross over to you, Robin.
Yeah, I think I hats off to both of you really for the happiness and joy that you're bringing to the world. And Andrew, We're all looking forward to your book. We're still somewhat sheltered due to this virus, so we have a lot of time to read it.
I'm looking forward to being done.
Absolutely. But, you know, we're congratulating you for your success, and we all look forward. Beatlandbooks.com. Please support people in their endeavors during this time. So important to keep the arts alive in all forms. So thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for all the kind words, and thank you, Eric, and thank you, Plastic, and thank you, Robin. It's been a pleasure to spend an hour with you.
And
Oh,
guys,
same here. Hey, Andrew, you got to talk to me about two things. I got to hook you up for the Bonzos. I know a guy that shot a home movie of the Bonzos on the street in '68.
Wow.
And they started doing stuff, so that was pretty cool. And we got to talk about some other things too.
So remain on, the two of you, as Plastic will end the show. We'll say goodbye to everyone, but stay behind if you would.
Oh, that'd be cool if you wouldn't mind for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, just stay behind everybody. But I want to tell you now, Andrew, you need to go and visit Erik and go through his museum of videos. And I'll tell you what, if I could, I'd get on a plane and fly to his house tomorrow if I could, to meet you guys up to see what you got. He's always got something. He is one of the greatest.
This is my souvenir for today for Plastic EP. This was one of my tickets to go see George Harrison in Tokyo Dome in 1991.
Wow.
So
Very
my
nice.
sister-in-law used to live in Tokyo, so I had a free place to stay. Hi there, if you're watching.
All right, everybody, I want to thank you for watching The Buzz from Plastic EP, from Robin B, from Erik Taros, from Andrew Sandoval. Just want to tell you, we all love you. Stay happy, and we'll see you soon. And make sure you buy Andrew's book at Beatland Books. And don't forget about Monkey Mania Radio. We're going to have a show, Plastic EP and Robin B, Saturday and Sundays. We can't wait for that too. Stay there, everybody.